Hey everybody, thank you for coming out in the nice cold weather to be in this nice warm room with everybody else, and for kind of a somber event, so I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. I'm Michael Munson, Forge's Executive Director. Can folks hear okay? We were playing with the microphone before, so hopefully if you can't hear, just yell and we'll try to speak louder. Or not speak louder. I wanted to welcome you here tonight and let you know that my role here tonight is like it was last year for those of you who are here, just to kind of guide us through the evening, and other people will be doing the heavy lifting tonight. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items for those of you who have not been to the center before. The bathrooms are down the hall. Both of them are all genders, so feel free to use whichever one makes you happy. I'd like to ask for folks to silence your noise-making devices. So if you have phones, I should probably do that as well. So if you could turn your phones off, that would be great. And if you want to have some conversation, I encourage you to do it after we're done, or step outside so that other people can listen and participate. I want to encourage folks to really take care of yourselves tonight. I know this is a difficult time for some folks. It's a difficult time in our world. It's a difficult day for many of us. And sometimes taking care of ourselves means checking out and going outside for a little bit. There's a couple places to sit in the lobby. There's some very cold places to sit outside in the atrium if you want to go outside that way. But do what you need to do. I know we have tissues in the room someplace if that is a need. They're over there, I think. And we probably have some, there's some over there as well. Excellent. And I bet we have some folks in the room that would be happy to step outside with you if you want to have somebody go outside with you and chat. So those are a couple of kind of housekeeping items. The other housekeeping item is that we have a shawl that we'd like to encourage all of you to participate in making. So it's in the back corner over there, and there's some special kind of funky, fancy pens. And our idea was that that shawl could go from organization to organization. So we can write messages that are powerful and uplifting and resilient, and we can share that love throughout organizations in Milwaukee. So it's a movable object of something that we create tonight. So after we're done, we can head back there. So just a little bit of what's going to happen tonight. We're going to start by setting the stage in a few minutes with Pastor Kate, who's going to just help us be in this moment and be in this place. We'll move on and have some of our partners share about the history of Transgender Day of Remembrance for some folks that don't know a lot about that history. We'll move on and talk a little bit deeper and reflect a little bit more with reading the names of those who've died this past year in the U.S. And we'll follow that by three speakers who we're really excited to have tonight. So Marie and MJ and Sid. And then we'll close with a very small ritual. And then there's some food that we can all share, and we can make community together by having some food. So I wanted to start us off by thanking the people that have partnered with us. And we've partnered with folks in the past, so some of us are good buddies and some of us are new friends for this year. So I'm hoping that those of you who are willing or able to stand up could stand up as I read your organization's name and stay standing until we're through the long list. So ACLU Wisconsin might not be here tonight. Alverno College's Master of Science Community Psychology program. Yay, Kim. Center for Behavioral Medicine, which is Kim again. Courage Milwaukee. Creep City Foundation. Yay, thank you. Diverse and Resilient. So Shiva, ADP. Thank you. City of Milwaukee Equal Rights Commission. Yeah, thank you. Fair Wisconsin. They're probably still in Madison where it's cold there too. Greater Milwaukee Center for Health and Wellness. The City of Milwaukee LGBTQ Tobacco Prevention Alliance. Thank you. Milwaukee County Behavioral Health Division, Community Access to Recovery Services. The longest name in the newest partner. CARS works too. Milwaukee LGBT Community Center, where we're sitting in right now. Milwaukee Metropolitan Community Church. Milwaukee Pride. Queer and Allied Faith Leaders of Milwaukee. Toolshed. They're probably working tonight. Wisconsin Coalition Against Sexual Assault. Wisconsin LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and the Wisconsin Trans Health Coalition. So if you're all willing to stay standing up for a minute, I'd like to hear who else is in the room. What organizations or companies or agencies are you from? If you're willing to call out and step up if you're able.
16th Street Community Health Center.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank
Great.
Lesbian Alliance.
Excellent.
P-Flag.
P-Flag.
UW Milwaukee Chancellor's Advisory Committee for LGBT plus advocacy.
Another long name. Excellent, thank you.
Milwaukee Jewish Federation.
Excellent.
UW Milwaukee Silver School of Public Health.
Another long name. Thank you.
Yeah.
What other organizations are here today? You don't have to be represented.
From Deer United Methodist Church.
Great, thank you. So as you can see, every one of us, all of us showed up tonight. If you want to sit down, you can sit down. If you want to stand up, you can stand up. Thank you all for being here. So we're all here tonight. We all showed up tonight, and I know some of us are nervous to be here. Some of us are a little bit apprehensive to be here. Some of us might have some mixed feelings about being here, kind of conflicted about what the event is and wanting to be with community. Perhaps we have a feeling that we should be here tonight. Or maybe that we're thinking that we love somebody, we want to support them, and that's why we're here. Maybe it's because we've had somebody in our own lives that we've lost due to anti-trans bias or violence or suicide. And maybe we showed up because we felt that it was the right thing to do and we needed to be here for ourselves. So I wanted to share this picture that was taken by Jeff Piercy and Meredith Watts last year. And it's just a lovely picture that helps remind me and I think all of us that we really are in this together. And it's just a fantastic photo, which is a little bit difficult to see right now in this room with the lights on. So I'd like it if we could take a moment, and if you're willing to turn to somebody, perhaps somebody that you don't know, and introduce yourselves to them. So it could be with your name, with your pronoun, could be name, pronoun, and a smile. It could be with a handshake. It doesn't have to be with a smile. It could be however you're comfortable introducing yourself to your neighbor. So I hope that you can and do feel a little bit more connected to at least one person in the room, if not the greater room. So thanks for helping create those connections by just introducing yourself to somebody else. And again, you can do that later on tonight and meet somebody else that's new. So each of us brings something foundational and essential. Each of us is necessary for creating the container that we're creating tonight, for holding the space, for the memories, for the stories, for the people whose lives ended as a result of anti-trans bias and violence. I want to recognize that each of us plays a vital role in creating this container for the words and that we will hear tonight and the emotions that might emerge. And to help us create that container and maybe reinforce it, I'd like to welcome Pastor Kate Fields from the Underwood Memorial Baptist Church to say a few words.
Good evening. It's my deep honor and joy to be here tonight. As we come in body and spirit to remember our trans and gender nonconforming siblings who have been taken from this world by hateful violence. We come creating a space that is made holy by our divine resilience and by our collective presence as we together honor our beloved ancestors who have perished. We honor their struggle for freedom and for liberation. We honor the ways they transgressed society's forcing of binary norms, and we honor their transformation that they brought. Tonight, we create space to lament and to grieve. Tonight, we create space to rest from the unsafeness of being made to hide each of our unique and beautiful identities. Tonight, we create space to fellowship with each other and to celebrate with disruptive fluidity. And tonight, we create space to continue to build a collective capacity to resist the systemic oppression that kills our siblings each year. As we enter this space, hear now the brief words of theologian Howard Thurman from The Inescapable Divine. For many, waiting is something more than all of this. It is to watch a gathering darkness until all light is swallowed up completely without the power to interfere or bring a halt. Then, in the darkness, to continue one's journey with one's footsteps guided by the illumination of remembered radiance. This is to know courage of a peculiar kind, the courage to demand the light, to continue to be the light, even in the surrounding darkness. India Ari has a song called I Am Light. Does anybody know this song? Yeah, a few folks. I wondered if we could just sing those three words together. I welcome anyone who would like to sing those with me. I am not a singer, but I'll happily offer a terrible voice so that we can just sing those three words, I am light. But it goes a little bit like this. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. Let us hold ourselves and each other in light. And let us hold ourselves and each other in companionship for our regenerative becoming, both individually and collectively. I welcome you into this time of prayer and lament and reflection and light, as we lift up the lives of our ancestors. May they rise in power.
Thank you. I'd like to invite the folks that offered to read or we convinced to read about history to come on up in front. So there should be 6 of you. And if you want to just line up, you can step in front of the microphone as soon as your number is up. That sounds kind of sad and bad. Until it's time to welcome you. So someone have one? I'm going to step out of the way.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history. So, Transgender Day of Remembrance is a tribute to those who have lost their lives to anti-trans hate, bias, or prejudice. This day serves as a purpose to honor those who have died and to raise awareness of the violence faced by trans, gender nonconforming, and non-binary individuals, as well as family and friends. The Transgender Day of Remembrance was founded in 1999 by Gwendolyn Ann Smith, who was a trans woman who was a graphic designer, longtime columnist for the Bay Area Reporter, and an activist, to memorialize the murder of Rita Hester. This small gathering of people in San Francisco in 1999 at the first Transgender Day of Remembrance has turned into an international day of remembrance, most often marked on November 20th by cities around the world. Rita Hester was an African-American trans woman who was murdered just outside of Boston, Massachusetts in 1998. She was murdered in her apartment with no signs of forced entry and no items of value were stolen. It is fairly clear that her death was a result of an anti-trans hate crime. To this day, her case remains unsolved. Hester's murder is not unlike many murders of trans people since 1998 who are often trans women of color, often surviving through the street economy, often the victims of intimate partner violence, often misrepresented by the media, if their stories are even covered at all. All too often, their deaths remain unsolved.
Has anything changed? Has anything changed since 1998? In some ways, a great deal has changed. In other ways, not so much. We continue to hear of trans and non-binary people experiencing discrimination, harassment, and violence. We continue to learn of violence and murder of individuals targeted due to anti-transgender bias, individuals who are targeted because they are transgender or because others may perceive them to be. We continue to see some media misrepresenting, misgendering, and misnaming those who have died. We continue to see some cases remain unsolved. We have seen that some of the legal protections gained over the last 10 years are being drawn into question or even being reversed. We recognize that those in the top ranks of the Department of Justice are trying to reverse the trans rights gains of Title IX by rolling back the guidance to schools. We see that civil rights protections are being questioned and denied across the country. We are seeing an increase in the militarization of the police. We are seeing an increase in attempts at legislating racism. We are seeing an increase in the expression of hatred through KKK and other similar groups becoming more vocal.
What else has changed? We're also seeing some media getting better. The Associated Press, Reuters, the New York Times, and others have style guides and rules for accurately and sensitively reporting about transgender people. Most of us are hearing the fluidity and ease that so many news reporters have with speaking the words transgender without any pause or hesitation. We're also hearing more on-air reporters feeling so comfortable that they are using trans and knowing that this shortened and inclusive language is widely understood by their audiences. We're also seeing continued positive shifts in many other areas. For example, we have more and more parents who are loving and embracing their trans children. We have schools who are working hard to ensure that all students have an equal learning environment, which does include making sure all students have access to bathrooms and locker rooms that align with their gender identity. We have more and more workplaces that are welcoming trans employees and making sure ample and equal protections are in place. We have more and more organizations who are taking up the fight for trans rights, organizations and social service agencies, like some who are here tonight, the Wisconsin Coalition Against Sexual Assault, the Center for Behavioral Medicine, Alverno College MS in Community Psychology program, the City of Milwaukee Equal Rights Commission, in which I'm a proud member, the Greater Milwaukee Center for Health and Wellness, the Milwaukee County Behavioral Health Division, community access to recovery services, and so many others, which you heard earlier. We recently witnessed 8 out trans people get elected to public office across this country.
What else has changed? We are seeing communities join together, recognizing that by working in harmony, we can and will be better able to address the widespread injustices and intersections of violence and inequity. For example, we are seeing that people who are working towards immigration rights are also working for trans rights. Those who are committed to reproductive rights are also working towards racial justice. Those who are working on healthcare rights are also deeply connected to the issues of poverty and making sure that people have a fair living wage. Those who are addressing educational issues are also committed to religious freedom. And so many other intersections and overlaps. As a country, many of us are acknowledging that we need to work together and that our issues, rights, and lives are very interconnected. As Audre Lorde said decades ago, there is no such thing as a single issue struggle because we do not live single issue lives.
And there is more work to be done. Until the anti-trans violence stops, we still have work to do. We will still gather to mourn and remember. Anti-trans violence impacts our communities here in Milwaukee. We too have had anti-trans violence impact our community with the murders of Chanel Larkin, a young Black trans woman and proud participant in Diverse and Resilience Sheba, killed in May of 2010, and Yvonne Young, a young African-American trans-masculine rapper who was killed in 2013. In addition to those numbers, there have been dozens of suicides as a direct result of anti-trans bias, bullying, harassment, and lack of legal protections. We recognize the teacher and firefighter and truck driver and high school student and person on long-term disability who have ended their lives by suicide, and so many others. We recognize those who are still alive but bear the weight every day of anti-trans words and actions. Those who live in River West, in Shorewood, in Bayview, in Glendale, in Fox Point, on the east side, in Wauwatosa, in South Milwaukee, and other places in the city and outside of the city. We acknowledge how hard it is, how unjust, and how lonely and tiring it is.
We are here tonight to reflect on the lives lost to anti-transgender bias and violence. We are here tonight to remember the individuals, the people, the complexity of those who died, not merely their names or how they died. We are here tonight to connect and observe at whatever levels we are able to, with the painful intersectionalities and that contribute to the deaths of the individuals we will name, and the hundreds that will go unnamed. We are here tonight to recognize that all of our lives have been touched by this bias and violence, by these intersections, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. We are here tonight to find strength in our community with each other, focusing on what we share together.
Thank you all for reading a little bit about the history of Transgender Day of Remembrance and kind of where we are today. I'm hoping that our candlelighters, who are little pyromaniacs with the clickers, would be willing to light all the candles. And
I
it's
need
just,
some more pyromaniacs. More volunteers.
they're fun little things to just help set us up with the beauty of the night. And as we wait for all the candles to be lit, if folks who are reading names want to slowly make their way up here, that'd be great.
other candles?
Our candle lighters are very efficient this year, which is really great. Thank you. Does everybody have a candle? Is everybody lit? We're lit. Do we have a 1B somewhere? Yes. I'm going to step out of the way then.
Tonight, we will read the 25 names of the individuals who were killed as a result of anti-trans violence in the last year in the United States. We recognize that many more lives were lost to anti-trans violence, but were not captured in the media or on the many different lists collecting the names and stories. We recognize, too, that many individuals lost their lives due to anti-trans violence in other countries. We hold space for them tonight as we remember those who died in the United States. We will never know how many trans and non-binary people die each year. We will never know how many loved ones, partners, family members, friends, and bystanders die from anti-trans violence every year. We will never know the scope of impact that words, messages, exclusions have. We cannot know how many of the hundreds of trans suicides each year are a direct result of the pervasive anti-trans cultural messages or the direct comments, slurs, and epithets that so many of us experience every day.
Of the 25 individuals who lost their lives, many are transgender women. Many are trans feminine people of color. Some are trans men. Some were non-binary. Some are non-trans identified and killed because others perceived them to be trans. Some were disabled. Many were low income. Some were homeless. Some were in relationships. Some were active in their communities. 3 of them were in Georgia, 3 in Louisiana, 3 in New York, 3 in Texas, 2 in California, 2 in North Carolina, 2 in Virginia. Other individuals were in Florida, Illinois, Maryland, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio, and South Dakota. 3 of these individuals were teenagers, 12 were people in their 20s, 5 were in their 30s, 4 were in their 40s, and 1 person was in their 50s. We recognize that to truly honor those who died, we need to not reduce people to their age or location or race, but fully acknowledge their individuality, their unique presence in our world. Tonight, we've each connected with at least one other person, making eye contact, hearing their name. Let us remember each other. We must remember each other.
India Monroe, 29, Newport News, Virginia, December 21st, 2016. Misha Caldwell, 41, Canton, Mississippi, January 4th, 2017. Jamie Lee Wounded Arrow, 28, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, January 7th, 2017. Jojo Stryker, 23, Toledo, Ohio, February 8th, 2017. Jacarius Holland, 18, Monroe, Louisiana, February 19th, 2017.
Kiki Collier also went by Tiara Richmond, 24, Chicago, Illinois, February 21st, 2017. China Gibson also went by China Doll Dupre, 31, New Orleans, Louisiana, February 25, 2017. Kiara McElvin, 26, New Orleans, February 27, 2017. Alfonso Watson, 38, Baltimore, Maryland, March 22nd, 2017. Kenny McFadden, 27, San Antonio, Texas, April 9th, 2017.
Jay Reed, 28, Miami, Florida, April 21st, 2017. MX Bostic, 59, New York, New York, May 4th, 2017. Cheryl Faulkner, 46, Charlotte, North Carolina, May 16, 2017. Yumera Alvarado, 34, Fresno, California, May 17, 2017. Josie Velius, also known as Kendra Adams, and Kimbeya Rose, 28, Ithaca, New York, June 13, 2017.
Ava Lorraine Barron, 17, Athens, Georgia, June 24th, 2017. Ebony Morgan, 28, Lynchburg, Virginia, July 2nd, 2017. T.T. Dangerfield, 32, College Park, Georgia, August 1st, 2017. Guinevere River Song, 26, Wakachichi, Texas, August 12th, 2017. Cashmere Red, 28, Gates, New York, September 4th, 2017.
Anthony Bubbles Torres, 44, San Francisco, California, September 9th, 2017. Derica Banner, 28, Charlotte, North Carolina, September 12th, 2017. We do not have a picture of the next one, but I'd like to have Elijah's loved one stand. Elijah Dupuy, 14, September 12th, 2017, Ottawa, Illinois. Thank you for being here tonight. Allie Steinfield, 17, Kabul, Missouri, September 21st, 2017. Stephanie Montez, 47, Robstown, Texas, October 26, 2017. Candace Towns, 30, Macon, Georgia, October 31st, 2017.
So as we take in those names, aware of the fact that there are only a small fraction of who likely has died in this past year, let's take a moment to just reflect on their lives and the loss that we feel. And I encourage you to call out the names of those that you've lost that might not have been listed, people that were close to you, people that you know of.
Lauren Arnold.
as we sit with our feelings for just a moment, there's a song I found just today that I think will speak to a lot of us. It's by a trans woman artist named Shay Diamond. And it's a really beautiful song called I Am Her. And it's performed with a background of a mural of legendary trans folks. So let's see if we can get that started.
There's an outcast in everybody's life, and I am her. I am her. There's a shadow in everybody's front door, and I am her. I am her. There's a dark cloud in everybody's sunlight, and I am her. I am her. Oh, you know I am her. All that glitters isn't gold. At least that's what I've been told. I got so many issues and problems that I go through. Sometimes I can't sleep at night. If I had my face, heaven forbid, it wouldn't be the worst thing that I ever did. It's a hell of a world that we're living in. James 2:10, a sin is a sin. Don't look at me immediately and what's behind my back thinking I'm naive. It's my southern hospitality. Tolerates more abuse than even I can believe. There's an outcast in everybody's life, and I am her. I am her. There's a dark cloud in everybody's sunlight, and I am her. I am her. There's a shadow in everybody's front door, and I am her. I am her. Your ignorance leaves a hell of a stench. The aroma lingers on, generations have known. Ain't it ironic, the smarter we get, the less we understand about the simplest shit. I am shame, she is me. We get down with our bad selves figuratively. Don't care too much what other people say. I get along well by my goddamn self. Never ask for no one's philosophy. It's obvious I'm proud of me. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's an outcast in everybody's life, and I am her. I am her. There's a shadow in everybody's front door, and I am her. I am her. There's a dark cloud in everybody's sunlight, and I am her. I am her. Oh, you know I am her. Now, 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 now. Now, 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 now. Now, 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 now. Now, 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 now.
So a few years ago, I heard this quote from Melissa Harris Perry that really resonated for me, and I know that some of you were here last year, and I used the same quote last year because I think it's just this really profound quote. And she reminded us that when we're addressing trans issues, that without a multitude of voices, we won't get the stories right. So if we listen every day, Milwaukee's trans community has thousands and thousands of stories, and we can hear them if we actually listen. So part of tonight's goal is to hear some of those voices with 3 of our speakers that are coming up next. So Marie Kelly's the first of our 3 speakers, and I've known Marie for a very long time, many, many years, and many of you in this room probably know Marie as well, because she gets around town, and she's she's always got good fashion, and she's always a good presence. So welcome up.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Marie. I'm a proud Black trans woman, and I am representing the group SHIBA, which stands for Sisters Helping Each Other Battle AIDS. It's a group for African American trans women. Meets bi-weekly for leadership development, health promotion activities, and social support. So, what TDR means to me, it's a chance for us to honor the lives of the trans people that were taken. It's also a chance for us to come together and communicate with and comfort each other. And the majority of lives, as has been said, the majority of lives taken each year are trans people, mostly often trans people of color, and their lives matter. Those lives matter just like our lives matter. And this day hits close to home, because 6 years ago, I was waiting on a bus to go to a friend's house. The bus stop was outside of where I used to live. When this guy came to the bus stop, I could tell he was drunk, and I could tell that he could tell I was trans. This was 6 years ago. He started to approach me, and if it wasn't for another guy that stepped in and said something, I knew something bad would have happened to me that night. So I always try to be aware of my surroundings, because it's always in the back of my mind, especially since I work at a temp service. I have to get up at 3:15 in the morning, leave out at 4:20, 4:25, and then catch 3 buses to the temp service. And you know, and if it wasn't for that guy, I could have been one of the names on the list. And the names that were read are human beings that had something to share with the world, whose lives were just as valuable as anyone else's. And to have that taken away is wrong, and anti-trans bias or anti-trans violence is wrong. So tonight, let us honor the lives of the trans women and men on the list, not just by saying their names, but by creating a world where it will be safer and freer, not just for us, but for the next generation of trans people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marie. I think one of the things that you just said is so important for all of us to realize is that sometimes bystanders can do a whole lot of good in this world. So, it's really wonderful, and that's something that all of us can do. So thank you for that reminder. Our second speaker is MJ, and we got to meet this past year. MJ was on a panel that we had about non-binary folks. And I'm looking forward to hearing what MJ has to say.
Hi everybody, my name is MJ, and I am a gender non-conforming, non-binary, genderqueer individual, and I go by they, them, their pronouns. Catch all that? Okay. In case you didn't, I will break it up a bit. Okay, start with the beginning. Say my first name starts with an M, and my middle name starts with a J. So put those together and you get MJ. Okay, we're good so far, right? Okay, good. Okay. In all seriousness, the gender non-conforming part is pretty self-explanatory. It basically means that I don't conform to society's idea of gender. Pretty easy. The non-binary part is where it gets a little more complicated. You see, our society works in a binary system where there are two options, man and woman. I don't fit that. That's where the genderqueer comes in, is that's the more individual aspect of this. Every genderqueer person identifies as genderqueer differently. For me, is it man is over here and woman is over here. I'm about 4 football fields that way. That's how it is for me. That is my life. And in all honesty, my life sometimes is shit. Life as a non-binary person is shit. Every day I have to navigate through a minefield of individuals who are against the idea of me even existing. I know that the idea of passing is problematic, but it's the only way that I can navigate my life and tell who is going to come after me and who sees me as who I am or sees me as what I hope they see me as that day. It's how I pass is how I gauge myself in the world. When I'm having a more feminine day, I ask myself, do I pass? Am I womanly enough? Do I look like a woman enough? When I'm having a masculine day, do I look like a guy? Do I? I don't know. Sure. What about when I'm dressing and presenting androgynously, which is how I am most days? What do I do then? See, how do I live when passing for me is just confusing people? That's passing for me, because when people don't see me as a man or a woman, they're like, what? But that's exactly where I belong. That's exactly where I am. And that confuses people, and the problem is that confused people are often dangerous people. People, when they are ignorant or they're just confused, they tend to lash out. And that's where my life gets put in danger. Transgender Day of Remembrance, to me, means honoring and remembering those lives lost to hatred, ignorance, and confusion. It is my belief that a great deal of hatred and discrimination is rooted in ignorance. People fear what they don't know, what they've never experienced. Last year, the day after the election, my school held a town hall meeting at which people were allowed, students were allowed to stand up and say what they felt and what they were thinking. And the majority of our school, I went to a small liberal arts school, and so the majority of the school was like, oh, we hate what's going on, this is horrible, this is gonna ruin everyone's lives, this is the worst. But then there was one person stood up, and she's like, I voted for Trump. And so many people started to yell at her. She couldn't even get a word in other than that. Everyone was yelling at her. I stood up and I said, hey, let her talk. Everybody's allowed to have a voice, even if they are against who you are. Because I did that, she later came to me, knowing that I have LGBT packets up the wazoo that I make myself. She's like, hey, can you teach me? She knew that she knew that I was understanding enough to be able to go down to her and be like, hey, I can help you up here. She knew that. Yelling is not the answer to this. It's yelling to be heard at first, but then you need to explain, you need to educate, because ignorance is, in my opinion, the root of all of this. Sorry. Transgender Day of Remembrance is a day to honor the memory of those whose lives were lost in acts of violence. Most people hear this and their brain automatically goes to one person killed by another. And that's what my brain does in part. But another part of it goes to those lives lost by their own hand, goes to those lives lost through suicide. I personally consider self-harm to be a form of violence. According to a recent study from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, non-binary people attempt suicide at a rate of 43%. That is way higher than it should be. Okay, honestly, every one of those should be at 0, but like, we don't live in a perfect world. But it's a lot higher than it should be. Mental illness, depression in particular, is extremely common amongst LGBT people, non-binary people in particular. And this very commonly leads to self-harm practices, sometimes going to the extent of suicide attempts. Just 2 months ago, I was minutes away from being one of those 43%. That's how tough some of my life has been. At least how I've interpreted my own life. Sorry. I went to a crisis chat line on my laptop for like while this is all happening, and it was, I think it was the Trevor Project, I think, and it was through a chat line, and they tipped off the police, and if it weren't for the police coming and knocking on my door, I would probably, there's a good chance I wouldn't be alive today. That saved my life, and it's taken a lot of work. I was in hospital programs for about 4 to 5 weeks. I was inpatient for about 2 weeks, and then I was in other programming for a while. I'm a lot better now. I was ready to be on that list, but now I'm so glad I'm not on that list. Throughout a lot of that, I couldn't help but think, what if I was on that list? I was so close to being on that list. Oh my God. But I'm here today. But a lot of people don't get that knock on the door, those police there for them. They don't get the mental health care that I got afterwards. I would not have been able to get better if not for proper psychiatric care. It's one thing that so many trans people in the country don't have. They don't have therapists or doctors that understand their experiences, their way of life. There's also the question of accessibility. Can people feasibly get help? Can they afford help? I myself lost my job because I was in these hospital programs. Because I hadn't been I was part-time and I'd been there for 5 days. I didn't qualify for FMLA and I lost my job. So I then went through a couple months of trying to find a job. I'm lucky I had my mom to support me. He's crying over there. But a lot of people don't have that. And that's what we need to work for. We need better mental health care for trans individuals in this country, because that will save countless lives. The point we're at right now is absolutely unacceptable. We need to push for better care and more affordable care. We can't just sit idly by. All in all, Transgender Day of Remembrance to me means honoring the memory of those lost, then working to prevent it from happening again, because this needs to end. Thank you.
Thank you, MJ, for being here, all of you here. So our next and last speaker is somebody who I've known for a really long time, who a lot of folks in this room do know too, just like Marie. Sid gets around. So y'all might know Sid from here at the center, Public Allies, from his badass acting, or dancing, or speaking. It's really a pleasure, Sid, to have you speak tonight.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you for being here this evening. This is an emotional evening, so bear with me if I read and I start to get a little choked up. That's just because this is so real. This is real. People out here are not living because of the fact that they were just trying to live. So I thank you all so much for being here and for caring about this. Trans women of color, particularly black trans women, are being murdered at pandemic rates in the United States. These women exist at one of the most dangerous intersections in America. The brutal forces of racism, sexism, and transphobia come to bear in horrifying, violent ways on these women's lives and their bodies. Many of them are victims of their male intimate partners. The following names are a part of just one list of trans people who have been murdered in the United States in 2017. Almost all of them except 4 are women of color. Many of these names you've heard just moments ago. You'll hear them again now. Candace Towns, 30, Macon, Georgia. Stephanie Montez, 47, Corpus Christi, Texas. Allie Steinfeld, 17, Texas County, Missouri. Scout Schultz, 21, Atlanta, Georgia. According to Time magazine, the Human Rights Campaign, in a report released Friday, calculated that 102 transgender people have been killed in the United States over the past 5 years, including 25 just this year. The Human Rights Campaign provided a statistical breakdown of the 102 killings since January 2013. It said that 88 of the victims were transgender women, and that nearly all of them were Black or Latinx. Nearly 3/4 were under the age of 35, including 4 minors. And 55 of the victims were killed in the South, including 16 of this year's victims. Derica Banner, 26, Charlotte, North Carolina. Kashmir Red, 28, Gates, New York. Kiwi Herring, 30, St. Louis, Missouri. Guinevere River Song, 26, Waxahachie, Texas. T.T. Dangerfield, 32, Atlanta, Georgia. For so many of those whose existence is being remembered tonight, they lived their lives in the presence of injustice in one or multiple ways. Being forced onto the streets to survive due to societies considering them to be impossible to understand, unemployable, unfit for the values of the society, and unhuman. Being constantly harassed and assaulted on the streets or in school or in prison facilities. Seeing the police as corrupt enforcers of the status quo, who would be particularly willing to throw trans feminine individuals in jails populated by men for whatever unjust law an officer decides to enforce at that time. Seeing government institutions as obstacles that actively deny their identity. These institutions do so by engraving this on all forms of identification, including ones they have to carry, and charge exorbitant fees with drawn-out, complicated processes for changing the identity that the state considers them to be, with perhaps the result of having their identity change denied at the whim of a judge or some other state official. Hospital workers who refuse to provide any care, much less adequate care, which is an issue that especially impacts trans people with disabilities. Who knows how many trans people who, at their own hand, have ended their lives due to the suffering of these injustices and so many more. Ebony Morgan, 28, Lynchburg, Virginia. Ava Lorraine Barron, 17, Athens, Georgia. Josie Berrios, 28, Ithaca, New York. Kenny McFadden, 27, San Antonio, Texas. Sherelle Faulkner, 46, Charlotte, North Carolina. Mix Bostic, 59, New York, New York. Che Reed, 28, Miami, Florida. Alfonso Watson, 38, Baltimore, Maryland. Jacarius Holland, 18, Monroe, Louisiana. Sierra McClevin, 21, New Orleans, Louisiana. Misha Caldwell, 41, Canton, Mississippi. Sean Hake, 23, Sharon, Pennsylvania. Jamie Lee Wounded Arrow, 28, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Jojo Stryker, 23, Toledo, Ohio. Kiki Collier, 24, Chicago, Illinois. China Gibson, New Orleans, Louisiana. This evening, as we are gathered here together, I encourage you to live. Live on for the ones who can no longer draw breath. Put into perspective the daily obstacles of your individual lives, the parts of life that are not posted, the parts of life that are not shared. Remember the lost lives. Remember the humanity and not simply their names. Remember that they were living souls who dared to defy societal norms by being truly themselves. May the pain and suffering be eased with global acceptance of self-love and a greater effort toward understanding rather than fear of that which is not initially understood. And more than live, I challenge you to thrive. However that looks for you, whatever that feels like for you. Strive toward it. Do what you must to find it in large and small ways every day. And most importantly, let nothing keep you from it. Let no one keep you from it. You deserve to live, to grow, to love, and to be loved in return. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid. I don't want to say anything after Sid talks. So Sid led us into a really good place of thinking about living and thriving and loving. And I'd like us to, if you're willing to, play with me for a moment and think about what that love means to you, what love means to you in your life. Think about maybe somebody that you love or somebody that loves you. And think about if you could direct that love towards yourself first, and then outward towards your neighbor, and maybe outward towards the world, and maybe towards this little box of rocks that are down on the floor. Basket, box. It's a container full of rocks. They're beautiful. They're all different. And so I'd like the room's energy of love and care and compassion, because we've heard a lot about compassion and love and wanting folks to live and caring about people living. All of that energy to put that into the rocks. And then as folks want to, if you want to take one as you leave, you can literally have it as a touchstone to remind yourself of that compassion and that love throughout the day, throughout the year. You can throw it in the river, you can put it under your pillow, wherever it makes you feel happiest. So we encourage you to take a rock and to think about what that means to you. I'm really glad that you're here tonight. I didn't know that I was going to use this picture for the end, but we're really glad that you were here and joined us tonight on this somber occasion of remembering. And I hope that we can move into a space of sharing some food together. We've got food that's going to get set out. And like I mentioned before, we've got a shawl that we'd like to decorate together. So if people would like to do that, and we'll set up a photo booth that people can take photos with themselves with the shawl or with a whiteboard. So please stick around and we'll be here for a little while. Thank you very much. Blow your candles out? I don't know. So I think food is going to be that way. The shawl is that way. Thanks.